All right. Hi, Gary. How are y'all? Hi, girls. Cool. We are. Go to Genesis chapter 1. I mean, chapter 12, verse 12. Anybody else hot? Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Hey, I just got a list, man. I'm just going by the list. Okay. This morning, I know I wore myself out preaching this morning. But I hope that something got into your spirit. I pray that you see the heart of the pastor of this church. I pray that you see where I want to go. I pray that you see where we need to go. That church as usual, it can't happen. I love you, and I'm glad you're here. But I'm not here just for you. God did not call me simply to maintain a crowd. He's called me to reach a different group. That's a bad way to say it. Another group, another people that need Him to move out of our church into the community, to move out of our church into people's lives, to declare who Christ really is, and not to just come to church and glad hand everybody, pat everybody on the back. Hug each other's neck, which is great. I love that stuff. And then leave exactly the same as where we showed up. Nothing's been challenged inside of us. No word has been given to excite us about tomorrow. We just can't wait to get back here next Sunday. Because then we'll come back next Sunday and I'll eat breakfast. It's Michael's turn to fix breakfast, so I don't know what we're going to have, but it'll be good. And so we'll come eat breakfast, and then we'll go do our kids' ministry. We'll sing our worship songs. Jeff will preach something that I'll remember if I look at notes, and then we'll come back Sunday night. There'll be 27 announcements, and Sister Naomi will roll her eyes, and we'll go on from there. And that's, to me, that is death. That is death. That's not growing. That's not moving forward. That is just existing and breathing air and taking up space. When we were, the song that they sang, what's the name of that song? Never Lost. Never Lost. The name of that song is Never Lost. And we, it's on my phone, but we were at Elevation, and regardless if you like Elevation, don't like Elevation, like Stephen Furtick, don't like Stephen Furtick, don't know who Stephen Furtick is, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, I don't care. But one thing that they mentioned, and I think I may have mentioned it a long time ago, but is when they started their church, they had this policy. 2 people fill a chair. 2 kinds of people fill a chair. Those who are leading someone to Christ, or those who need Christ. And if you are one of those 2 kind of people, please give up your chair.
Right.
And I thought, man, that's pretty tight right there.
Yeah.
If you're just coming here, their point was, if you're just coming to take up space, we need your chair.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's pretty brave to say when you just start a church. And I think the church is 13 years old now, 12 years old, whatever it is now. But when they first got to Charlotte, how they got to Charlotte was this. 4 couples, at least 4 couples, sold everything they owned and moved to Charlotte to start this church. They sold every, I think Stephen Furtick was Monk's Corner or South Carolina, something like that. And they sold everything that they had. They left their home churches. They sold all their belongings except for their cars. And they moved to North Carolina to start a church because God had called them. That's being all in. That's being all in. That's not, there's no safety net there. There's no plan B. There's just, this is what God's called us to do. This is what we're going to do. And so to start a church and be able to go, and if you don't fit in that criteria, we need your chair, which means please don't come back if you're just going to take up a chair. That goes against the grain of most churches. And then I was in the conference. I was in a what do they call them? Offshoot. It was what do they call them? I don't know. They break off anyway. And we were in there, whatever they call them. And so we broke off, and you had creative and you had cultural. And I was in the cultural thing, and I think I've been in the word creative. And I did that purposely so we could learn both of them. Okay. And so in the culture one, they have this in the church they have this policy. If you've been coming to the church for 2 months and you haven't volunteered to do anything, they come talk to you. Because they say we're not going to eat up our resources and on people who don't want to volunteer to help move the gospel forward. If you come to the church for 2 months and you haven't become, they'll come talk to you and say, hey, you really need to be involved. You really need to get involved. And I thought, wow, what a great concept. Yeah. And it's amazing. I'm sure some people get offended at that because you're just trying to figure out where you're at after 8 weeks, you know. But they want you to be a door greeter. They want you to be in the parking lot. They want you to be in the hospitality area, giving out food and giving out drinks, and you know, because then they have a big, huge foyer, and in the big, huge foyer, you can get muffin, or you can get coffee, or you can get the juice, or you can get water, or you can get whatever. But you can't take it in the sanctuary, and I love that. Because I had my bottle of water, and I'm just cruising. And then you guys say, hey, whoa, whoa, you can't take that in here. I'm like, really? He said, yeah. I said, thank you for doing your job and telling me I can't take that in here. I said, most people wouldn't have said anything, and thank you for doing your job. He said, oh, no problem, man. He said, but he said, you can take it to the pastor's lounge and drink it? I said, no, I'm good. I said, I'll just set it over here, and I'll get it later. I hadn't opened it yet, so I just put it back, got it right. And I was just going to bebop in there and drink my water and, you know, hang out. But you can't take food and drink and water in your sanctuary. And I was like, I like that. I like that. And I'm the dummy that started the whole water thing. Here. I'll live in faith. Well, I don't mind if you drink water, so I can throw your bottle away. I don't care. I don't care. But here's the thing. I said all that to say this. Their church is intentional in what they do. I'm just using them for an example. I can go World Harvest. Do we go World Harvest on you? World Parsons Fair? I go World Harvest on you. Going to. I've been there too. And they do some great stuff too. I can go to a lot of different churches that I've been able to go to. But one thing I have noticed is that they are intentional in what they do. We're going to win the lost based. Now they may not win the lost like you think, or I think the lost ought to be won, but that is their intention. They are winning the lost. They are out there being part of the community. They're out there giving and serving and doing what they can do to win the lost. And I just want to share a few things with you tonight. And I know it's already 7 o'clock, and I've bored you with announcements and my introduction here. But I want to ask you that I'm going to share things. Where I start is not where I finish. And just because I've started here doesn't mean I have to finish here.
That's right.
I can't express this enough to this church because I get a feeling when I talk about moving forward, you think that I'm just throwing this away, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and that's not true at all. Throwing the baby out with the bathwater is not my intention. I love where I came from, and I love the history of the church that I came from, and that's great. But can I tell you that church is a church in the past that has a great past and a great history. but it's still, I grew up there, and I'm 50 now. I'm not 15 now. And it's been a while. It's been a while. And when you think when God spoke, I will go to Genesis 12:1 in a second, but when God spoke to Abraham, He gave him direction on leaving one place and going to another place. He spoke to Abraham and said, Abraham, I'm going to take you to a place that I will show you. Abraham didn't know where the place was at, had no idea. But all he knew was that God had spoken to him to go from one place to another place. And he knew with everything in him he had to go to that place. He knew with everything in him he could not stay in his father's house anymore. But he had to go forward. I understand that in my spirit because I feel like sometimes I'm in my father's house, not God's house, but my spiritual father's, both of them, Ford and Turner. I feel like I'm in their house and I have to leave that house in order to go where God has called me to go. Does that make sense to anybody but me? Let me hear your head rattle, okay? And so I have to leave, not because I don't like them, and not because I don't love where I came from, but listen, the Bible does not say that Abraham hated his father and left his house mad. It says that God called him from his father's house to go to a land that He will show him. And so I'm not leaving mad. I'm not leaving discouraged. I'm not leaving with a chip on my shoulder. I'm leaving with thankfulness of what those men poured inside of me and what those men saw inside of me to give me opportunity after opportunity to love and grow and become who I am today. Thankful. Thankful for the protection they gave me. Thankful for the food they fed me. Thankful for the clothes they gave me. Thankful for allowing me to grow up in a culture where those two men loved me and they cared for me even when I was unlovable and I didn't care if the church burned down.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen, brother.
But he started in his father's house, but he had to start there. Starting point. I said this morning, God will give you a starting point every day if you need one. A starting point. God, I messed up yesterday. That's okay. We're going to start today.
Amen.
God, I blew it. I know you did. I know you did. But let's repent over it. Now just ask forgiveness. Let's repent over it. And let's go on from there. Let's start from here. Let's move on from here. He started in his father's house, but he was setting out on a journey. And so for us, as Christians who are sitting in pews, and for a pastor that's just standing behind this old pulpit that has been here for 105 years, I don't know how long it's been here, really, but it's been here long enough, it's got a hole drilled through it, so you can put the microphone stand here and put the cord up. It's pretty old, okay? And so it's old. So I don't know how long it's been here. It's one on each side. So we have got to understand that God has not called us to stay, but God has called us to greater and different. Listen, even if it's not, I always use the word greater, and I don't mean it to be, oh, we're going to win 20 million people to the Lord. We may, I don't know. But when I say greater, I mean different. Change. Not the same. Not the same old. Not the same. Listen, I love you, but the same 150 people every week is great. But how cool would it be if there's an influx of about 150 of you? And so all of a sudden now there's 300 of you, and I don't know everybody anymore. And I don't know their cousins, and I don't know their aunts and uncles. And all of a sudden now things are changing, and people's lives are being restored, and marriages are being put back together. And God is doing it. But with that comes this: more marriages being torn apart. And what goes with that is also more struggle and more trial and more tribulation. But still, yeah, let me let you hear what I'm saying is this: God has given us great opportunity. The land that was promised to Abraham, that's where we're going to 12:1. And I'm sorry if you guys are cold, but I've got to turn something on. Just if I don't do anything but turn air, just blowing. It's just so stuffy, I can't hardly breathe. 12:1, you with me? Now the Lord said unto Abram, get out of your country, and from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. Wait a minute. The Lord said, Abram, get out of your country. From your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. Well, God, where is that at? It's none of your business. I'll show you. But God, I don't understand where I'm going. I know you don't, but just wait a minute and I'll show you. But God, here's the deal, God. I am all about that. But God, please just give me a direction. No, follow me. Follow me. All right. The land that was promised to Abram is the same land shown to Moses before his death. What do you mean? Deuteronomy 34, 1 through 4. Matthew, Mark, Luke, Deuteronomy. Get there. Part of Pentateuch. There you go. And Moses went up to the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, the top of Pisgah, which is across from Jericho. And the Lord showed him the land of Gilead as far as Dan. Keep going. 1 through 4. All Naphtali and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah as far as western sea. The south, the plain of valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, as far as Zoar. Last one. The Lord said to him, this is the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give your descendants. I have caused you to see with your eyes, but do not cross over there. The same land that Moses saw was the same land that God promised. Now hear me and listen to me well. Okay? Listen to me, hear me. I have a pastor that's 89 years old. He's 89. And God promised him some things out of this church. Okay? I'm a firm believer that he will not pass until he sees those things come to fruition. He gets to see them. Guess who gets to do that? You guys. Guess who gets to be that? Guess who gets to fulfill the call? You guys get to fulfill that call. Guess who gets, hey, what happened to LG's not in the Bible. Okay. Guess who gets to fulfill that call? Yeah. This church, I don't know if that excites you or just makes you scared, but this church, Nancy, I'm about to call you Nancy Young. Nancy Ladd, I've known Nancy Ladd since I was, I don't know. And so, okay. And so, for her to be Nancy Ladd is hard on me still. Okay? So she's Nancy Young to me. Not to make myself say Ladd. And so, but Nancy, I am so glad you're here. You have no idea how glad I am that you're here, that I didn't have to come to somebody and say, okay, this is a Bible, this is the table of contents, you need to know what's in the middle. Okay? I'm so glad you're here because we need you. I need you. I'm just using her as an example of people that God is bringing. Tamara Hennon, I'm so glad you're here. Amen. Mitchell, but I'm glad you're here. Because I didn't have to teach you how to love people. I didn't have to teach you how. I didn't have to teach you how to get up and do something that needs to be done. Somebody else had to do that. Thank you. I'm thankful for them. Okay, and so somebody else had to do that, Nancy. I didn't have to teach you to love people and do stuff. Somebody else had already invested in you. And I'm just using those. Tim Churchwell. I've known Tim Churchwell all my life. I'm so glad he's here. Daryl Phillips. Are you kidding me? He's nuts, but I love him. I've known Daryl for 30, how many years? 30 years. I love Daryl. And God has brought Daryl into our church. Why? I always ask Daryl, and he's like, I don't know. I'm just here. I'm just here to help. Don't you always tell him? And he does help me. Just being here helps me. If Daryl doesn't do one more thing, just being here, just seeing his face helps me. Because you know why? Because I know he loves me and is praying for me. For no other reason. I'm so glad Stephen Hunt is here. Amen. I just am. I'm glad. Now Casey's iffy, but I'm glad that Stephen's here. Okay? I do. I love that he's just part of my family. Yes, God. He's another Nance kid. All right? He's not a kid anymore, but he's just, I mean, I married him and Casey. When did you guys get married? What year? 90.
05?
Was it? I thought it was 99. 05? I don't know how old you are. 05. I couldn't remember. Back in the horse and buggy days in 05. Okay. We came off the plains. Okay. And so, but 05, I've known Stephen since about 05, it's show 4, 05. And I'm so glad that they're here. And I say all that to say this, and if I didn't call your name this minute, Sister Linda, God brought you here. If I didn't call your name this minute, I don't love you. I'm just using examples of people that God has brought. Why? To fulfill what God needs to be done.
Amen.
To be the finishing pieces of the puzzle. To put us together that we can do what God's called us to do. My mother-in-law is here, and I'm so thankful for her being here. Everybody, I don't know, I just love you. Okay, and so I'm just so thankful that you guys are here. Austin, we love you, Austin. Okay, and Olivia, and we're the most grateful for you. Okay? We're the most happy that you're here. In 2002, the sun shone. The angels sang. And I was so afraid she's going to be born on Halloween. It's like, she can't be born on Halloween, honey. You've got to push this baby. Okay? And so she's the 29th of October, not the 31st. But she was close. Okay? She was close. All right, I'll go on. Without a vision, the people do what? That's Proverbs chapter 29. When the vision is extinguished, life is extinguished. When you don't have a vision, you might as well close up shop. If your vision is to just come to church, that's great. But that's not me. And I don't believe that's you, or you wouldn't be here tonight. You know, I don't know if you guys realize this, but we lose about 80 people between Sunday morning and Sunday night. But 80 people decide that, for whatever reason, and I'm not criticizing, that something else is going on. And so there's people that are working, there's people that are doing stuff. I get it. I'm not mad about that. I understand. But I believe really, this is going to sound really, really horrible. But I believe Sunday night, you don't have to be here, but you chose to be here. How many of you could have found something to do tonight? How many can still be sleeping? Okay. And so I walked into the church at 5:40, and I was like, at 5:15, my mother calls me. You think you can get me a small pizza? Sure, Mama, I'll do anything. You're right on that. You're right on that. So you know what I did? I got a small pizza. Why? Because she's my mama. I'm still afraid of her. Okay, so I walked in, I was like, I'm so stinking sleepy. I had to shake myself and wake myself up. And so, I don't know if you guys ever come to church that way. How many ever come to church sleepy? Yeah. I see y'all Sunday morning, right? Okay, so I know you're sleepy. But when the vision is extinguished, life is extinguished. And so we have to continue with the vision, and I have to do a better job of that, of keeping the vision in front of people. Listen, you may be standing at the beginning of your journey, but you're not at the end of it yet. Amen. This church is standing at the beginning. We're the precipice. What is it called? Precipice. That's it, precipice. Okay, that's a big word. That's a $50 word to say the brink. Okay, but we're standing at the doorway of what God has called us to do. And the last 8 years have been nothing but preparation. Right. Changing your mind and changing your direction. Right. Can I just share with you? Hey, Shaft. Where did I start before? The last 8 years, I don't know if you were aware of this, but I have been changing your direction. It has not been fun. But I have been changing your heading. Not taking you from heaven to hell, but taking you from this is the direction we're going to this is the direction we're going. Right. You probably, I don't know if you know if you're aware of it, but that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years. Trying to get you to see things in a different way. Trying to get you to see that God is not against sinners, but for sinners. that God is not against the lost, but He's here for the lost. That God does not expect you to have nothing to barely get by, but God expects you to put the work in to be beneficial and to be profitable. To get your vision up of what you are. You're not just some lowly little worm, but you're a child and a servant and a child of God. To get you to think differently of, I am not just an employee, but I am a future owner. That is how I've tried to raise this church up to understand, because you've got to get your mind and your who you are up, or you'll never be able to lift anybody else up, because you'll just stay down there in the pig slop and wallow if that's all you've ever known is to do is wallow. But if you can get your vision right, if you can get your destination right, you will get where you're going faster, but you've got to get your vision right. You have to get to what God has called us to do, not what God used to ask us to do. We've fulfilled that need. Now let's fulfill what God has done now in our future. Listen, Abraham, when he left and he walked away, he had fulfilled that part of the calling. He left because God had told him to leave, and so he left. That was done. He didn't have to go leave again. He had already left. Does that make sense to anybody but me?
Amen.
Okay, the only thing that he was looking forward to now was getting to the promised land that God had called him to, and that had to be done through God and through a lot of trial, a lot of stupid things that he did. And he had to deal with an Ishmael and a Hagar. He had to deal with calling his wife his sister. He had to deal with a lot of stuff. But he was on his way to the journey that God had called him to. And so for the last 8 years, I have been trying to turn this boat toward what God would have us to do, and not simply what God used to have us do. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Is it all right if we just continue to go forward?
Yes.
Yes.
Amen. Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Jim Lowe's, you're so good to have you here tonight.
Amen.
I love you, buddy.
Amen.
All right, listen. You may just be starting out on your quest. Maybe you're just at the, I can't get away from this word, starting point. Maybe you're just at your starting point. And I believe this community needs a new starting point. I think that they need a place to start over again. A place that loves them and cares about them. Brother Darrell, let me define caring about and loving them. It doesn't mean, this is not love. If you have somebody who's an alcoholic and you buy them a fifth of whiskey, that's not love. But I really need it. I know you need it, but I'm going to keep it from you because you need it so bad. You need to be set free of it.
Amen.
That's not love, giving into it. That's not love. Love is to telling them, listen, I'm going to keep this from you. I'm hiding this from you. You can't have this. You can't have this. You're going to fight your way through it, and it's going to be hard, but you're going to get through this. And when you're on the other side of it, you'll thank me. Right now, you're cussing my name. But when we get through it, you're going to thank me for it. That is loving and caring for people. And it gets messy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to call you everything but a left-handed booger eater. I'm just telling you right now. They are not going to be your best friend. You're going to be judgmental, you're going to be hateful, whatever, blah, 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 whatever. But when you get to the other side and you see where you came from, that's when it pays off. Most cases, not all cases, but most cases. You maybe just be starting. I just believe that this community needs a new starting point, a place to start over again. Let's put a line on it. Let's put a chalk line and say and write "start" on it. And let's go from there. Let's get a green flag and let's wave it. Okay, you're starting. Okay, all you NASCAR nuts. Okay, we're starting, Matthew, and so we're starting with a green flag, right? We're going to start you off. This is your starting point. From here, this is where the journey begins. The journey begins at the altar. The journey begins with God. All the other stuff doesn't matter. Where's your journey start? Where's it begin? This is your starting point. You may start it a long time ago and maybe you got lost. And you couldn't find yourself. Maybe the pillar of fire you couldn't see anymore. Maybe the cloud by day you couldn't find it. And you just got lost. You've been walking around in the desert for years. You're not going back to Egypt, but you're not going forward to the promised land because you don't even know where the promised land's at. You're not going backward, but you're not going forward. You're just kind of stuck in a holding pattern. Does that make sense? Yeah. And maybe you just got lost. And you just need someone to come find you. Maybe that's where you're at tonight. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you just got sidetracked by life. So many people get sidetracked by life. I said this morning, don't get sidetracked by the shiny thing. Do what you know to do. Pray, fast, serve, read, stay solid, keep walking. That's what you have to do. But if you do those things, you'll never get, I'm not saying you'll never get lost, but you'll never have to struggle so much in your life. But if you go chasing after all the little shiny stuff, oh, you need to come over here, he's got a word. Okay. Great. Brother Darrell, we know about people that have a word, don't we? We've been down that road, haven't we? Some of us still traveling down that road, aren't they? Oh, but you got to come hear this guy preach. I know he's not exactly biblically correct, but still, he's got a word. Okay, great. Just because he can suck back the air real good doesn't mean he's a good preacher. Come on. Just saying. What is he saying when he's sucking back? I just want to throw that out there to you. Maybe you got sidetracked by something shiny. And maybe you just couldn't find your way back, but maybe you just need another starting point because where I started is not going to be where I finish. I started here, but I'm going to finish in heaven. But I started right here, but I'm not finishing right here. This was a great place to start as a kid. Man, I ran this place, dude. We ran this place. We were the coolest. Me and Mike Smithy, Billy, Jerry, Twain Hart, and we ran this place. Well, we thought we did. Really, we're just a bunch of punk kids. Brother Turner just let us go and do our thing. But I've got a great place to start. Isn't it time to let somebody else have a great place to start? A great place to come and start their journey. The journey starts at the starting point. No matter where it is. Where's your starting point? Well, I started many, many years ago. Fantastic. What happened? Kind of got lost in the desert. I'm sorry to hear that. But you know what? I see a green line coming up. Yeah. What does that mean? I see a green flag and a white line. What does that mean? That doesn't mean a white line not like you think. Okay? But it means a starting line. A place to start. My journey begins here. God's going to wave a green flag and I'm going to start again until I get it right. Yeah. Do you remember, has anybody ever been to drag races? Yeah. How many brought your earplugs? Okay, so love. And the guys, you can't go until it hits green or you're disqualified. Right? Isn't that right? Yeah. Okay, you're looking at me like, what? I've never heard of this such. Yes. If you jump early, you lose. Regardless of how fast your car is. Right? And so you have to wait for the green line or the green light. You have to wait on the, what's it called? The Christmas tree, is that what they call it? Yeah. The tree. Okay, you have to wait for the tree to turn green. And once it turns green, that's your starting point. Go. You can go as fast as you can go. But you have to wait for the green light. You with me? Here's God's cool. Here's how cool God is. Even though you may have jumped the line, you may have left early, you may have been disqualified by the rules of their game, God says, you know what? We're going to start again. We're going to start again. I'm going to start you again. Because your journey doesn't end here, it starts here. This is your starting point. This is where your journey begins, right here. You start right here. Church, look at me. Look at my nose. I got to get out of that youth pastor thing. I don't know. I can't. I've said it for 20 years. I can't get away from it. Listen. Everybody needs to know this. No matter how dirty you've gotten, no matter where you've been, you can always come back to the start. Here's the other thing. God will drag that line to you. Say, okay, here you go. We're starting again. The cool thing is that He doesn't make you go all the way back to the starting line. He brings the starting line to you. We're going to start here. Well, that's not fair. I had to start back there. Yeah, but look how where God's brought you from and how much further ahead you are. But the thing is, the starting line is different for everybody, but the finish line is the same. The finish line is the same. We all get to go to heaven together, right?
Yeah.
How many in the church are planning on going to heaven? And how many want to go to hell? Buster, your hand's still up. I need to have an emergency board meeting as soon as this. Holy cow. And so, nobody wants to go to heaven. And if you do, we need to pray the demon out of you. Right. We have oil, we'll travel. Okay? And so we've got to. Nobody wants to go to hell. Nobody wants their family to go to hell. Nobody wants anybody they know to go to hell. And if you do, there's something wrong with you.
That's right. Come on.
I think it's time to reset our vision. It's been a long 8 years for me. Actually, this year has been the longest of the 8. Why? I want my building done first.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
I want it done.
Yes, sir.
Done. I want it done. Not partially done. Not halfway moved in done. No. I want it done. Done. El completo. See? Want it done. All right? In church, I almost said look at my nose. Listen. We're not moving in until it's completed. You know why? It'll never be completed if you didn't.
That's right.
And you'll start piling junk somewhere, and I'll make them drive me insane. I have to kill everybody. Okay, so this, just kidding. We just have to yell at everybody. Listen, we're not moving in until every light bulb's in.
Amen.
We're not moving in until every trim piece is put up. We're not moving in until the sound system is just right.
Amen.
We're not moving in. We're not moving in until it's done and completed. Okay? Our vision has to change. Now, I saved this building one time from blowing up, and sometimes I wish we would have had to. Because we would have had to do something. I walked in here one day, like my normal routine, 4:30ish, 5 o'clock. Side door, unlocked it, got hit in the face with gas. Whoa! I'm just glad it didn't blow up. I'm glad nobody called. Okay? And so I walk in, and then our hot water tank is in this. Go through this door, there's another door. The hot water tank's in there. And the gas line had split. The whole church was full of gas. Whole church. I had no tools with me. There was no tools here. I go to Brother Turner's house and get a wrench so I could turn the meter off, you know? And after I had the meter off, I thought to myself, I should have made one phone call. There was nobody here. It was my luck. Somebody would have been out back, got hit with a brick or something. But I'm just saying, it would have forced us to do something. Instead of just being satisfied. Now, we'll be in a auditorium instead of block that I would hate. Hate's a strong word, isn't it? That I would not want to be in, and we'd still have to move forward. But hear me, and I'm closing. And all that we do is keep our vision on what the calling of God is. The calling of God is people, reaching people. We need to be intentional in what we do. We need to be intentional how we do it. Well, I think we ought to, listen, I get that. Well, I think we ought to, think we ought to, think we ought to, think we ought to, need to. I can think you ought to need to death. Just because we don't do it like everybody else does it, I think that's a good thing. I'm not everybody else. I don't pastor like everybody else. I don't preach like everybody else. I don't want to be like anybody else. I don't want any other. I don't want to be like any other church. I just want to do what God's called us to do. I just want to be how God's called us to be, because God has a plan. We're a puzzle piece, and I don't want somebody biting off the edge to put me in a puzzle I don't fit in. Amen. I don't want to do that. I just want to do what God's called us to do. So even though we may be standing here and starting here, doesn't mean this is where we have to study. Where I start is not where I finish. When I started this dissertation, that's what the name of that sermon is where I start, I don't finish. I don't have to finish. I started here, but I'm not finishing here. I started here, but I'm not finishing here. I started in this church building, but this church building has run its course.
Amen.
It is a wonderful foundation for me and for many people that have come through here. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I open the door, it smells like mold, and it feels like home. I love it. It's the truth. It just feels like home. But God has not called me to stay home. He's called me to go to a land He promised me to go to. I just want you to go with me. I want you to go with me. I want you to follow God with me. I want to do life with you guys. I don't want to just go to church with you. I want to do life with you guys. Amen? Amen. Listen, we just get a short time here on this planet. We just do. We get a short time. The next thing you know, you'll be in the presence of the Lord. You'll be shouting glory, hallelujah, and walking through streets of gold. It'll be fantastic. Good. Be at the marriage supper of the Lamb, eat chili dogs from Sonic. Amen. And onion rings. Forgive me as I worship. And I won't make my belly hurt, and I won't get fat. And I don't have to worry about my high blood pressure stuff. As I worship, y'all worship with me. And so, anyway, all the Dr. Pepper I want to drink. God is good. Man, water is good. This is not your mansion. And all that stuff is fantastic. It's the original taste that I love so. And the taste is making peppers everywhere I go. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper, you're a pepper. Okay, and so now I couldn't tell you the lyrics of some hymn, but I can tell you that. Okay. Listen. I'm gonna leave you with this. Every age group here, we have a group for you. Talked to my brother-in-law today, and we're revamping them to make them effective. They're not effective right now. And not Ram the Rim that's effective. I'm talking about Ignite. The next step, we're going to revamp those to make those profitable for you. I want you to do life together. Why did I start Next Step? I'll tell you why. We started Next Step 6 years ago. Because the age group was originally 21 to 35. I broke it down to 18 to 35 because we didn't have anybody from 18 to 21-year-olds to take care of that, so I wanted to include the people that get out of high school. And so 18 to 35, I know it's a large age group, I get that. But that group is designed this way. You're getting out of high school, you're going to college, you're getting married, you're having children, you're having grandbabies for the very first time. Okay? Right? Your life is changing. Everybody's going to go through those areas. You're going to graduate high school, you're going to go to college or school or whatever, go to work, you're going to be getting married, you're going to have children, and I wanted a group that they could go, what did you do when your baby was driving you insane? And you knew you couldn't hide the body. Okay, and so what did you do? What did you do? Okay? And so I want you to do life together. That's the reason for that group. I don't need a activities director to, we're going to go, bowling. I need people to meet together and love each other and get to know each other, connect with one another, that they know that if my baby is sick, I can call Darren or Becky, or I can call Carrie, or I can call Stephen, and I can call somebody because we're connected, and they're not only going to pray for me, but they'll come stay with my baby, and my other babies, while I take my baby to the hospital, and I don't have to worry about somebody hurting my children because I know these people,
Amen.
and I have somebody in my church family that I can call on.
Amen.
Right? Ignite, right? Start Ignite. 36 to 54-year-olds. I think I said, if you're having grandbabies at 30-something, you're okay. No, I didn't mean that. I mean Ignite, okay? I know, I'm sorry. When I said it, I thought that sounds weird. Okay, 36 to 54-year-olds, because you're having grandchildren in that age group, right? Your kids are married, now you're dealing with daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws, and you're dealing with stuff, right? You're dealing with getting ready to go into the retirement years of your life. You're trying to figure that out. You're 55 years old and you got about 80 more years to work and you can retire. And so now you're here. You are all going through the same things. It's not intentionally set up just to go do an activity. It's to go hang out together, get to know them. What did you do? How did you do that? How did you set up your retirement? How did you do this? That you can do life together and you can have a family together and you can say, listen, get the grandkids together, let's go swimming or something at somebody's house or whatever, and go and fellowship with each other and get to know each other. That's what that group was set up for. It wasn't set up to go eat and leave. I could do that every day of my life. It's intentionally set for that. Remnant, they did a fantastic job. I have no complaints at Remnant at all. None. They Bible study, choir, they visit each other, they go on activities, they do stuff. And they are a model of how to put a group together. And listen, here's the cool thing, they don't fight. It's amazing. Well, how come she gets to ride in the front seat? I wanted to ride in the front seat. There's none of that stuff. Because nobody wants to ride in the front seat with David. So it's awesome, okay? And so, our widows group that Kay is so wonderful to do. At one point we had 7 widows. I don't know how many we have now. Do you, off the top of your head? 9 widows in our church. It wasn't set up to go eat lunch together and just go leave. It was set up to go, I'm struggling in this area. I don't know how to deal with this. How did you deal with that? And you say, I don't know, I'm still dealing with it too. Well, can we pray with each other? Can we love each other? Can we hang on to each other? Can we just hold each other? Can I call you in the middle of the night when I don't know, when I can't sleep because my heart's broken? Can I call you? Can I encourage you? Can I call you in the middle of the night to encourage you? That's what it's set up for. It's not to go to eat a boomerang and leave. It's because you're going through the same process, the same things together. Is that okay just to be a church?
Amen.
Our men's group is not set up just to be breakfast and go. It's meant to go to put our men together, to bind them together, to love each other and care for each other, and find out something about them and just love each other. Our women's group, we don't have a women's group, we have a women's group, we just don't have a leader right now, and don't pray for me. And so we're working on that, but that's what it's set up to be. It's not to give you something to do. You have plenty to do.
Amen.
If you weren't at church tonight, you'd be doing something. You have plenty to do. I encourage you to be a part of your group. Well, I just think that's separatism because you're separating the church because of ages. No. I'm trying to get you to minister to one another and love each other because you're going through the same stuff. You're the same age. You understand what it's like to have 4 kids that are driving you insane. And you want to knock the top half of their head off. You understand that. Right? Have you ever been there? Do I have any parents in the house? That you were like, oh my goodness, if I don't get away from these kids. Y'all go somewhere. I don't care where you go, just go. Not our little sweet little angels, but I'm talking about y'all's kids. Talk about y'all's kids. I built a whole bedroom, a whole apartment, so they could go away. Okay, and so they could do their own thing, and I'd have to watch a musical. Lord help me. That's what they're set up for. But you know it doesn't work unless you participate in it. It doesn't work. Well, I don't want to go because it's all just the same people, and that's a good excuse as any. Good excuse as any. Well, I don't want to go because it starts at 7, and well, I've got to be in bed at 7:15. You ain't never in bed at 7:15 in your life. That's what they're set up for, but you have to participate in it. You have to be part of it. You have to be part of your group. If you're not part of your group, it's going to die. It's going to die. Amen? All right, stand your feet. I'll get you in.